Well, here, Chris Grayling, the Justice Secretary, is still with me. I'm joined by Anne McElvoy and the singer and songwriter Regina Spektor. Regina, welcome. You're going to be playing us out later on. You have a remarkable sort of personal story because you actually spent your first, what, 11 years or so in the Soviet...
9.5.
9.5 in Moscow. And your mother was a musician?
Yeah, she's a conservatory professor.
Wow, yeah. And then your parents managed to get out to the States.
Yeah, during Perestroika we left and we moved to the Bronx.
Yeah. And you, I think, was it even when you were in Russia that Joni Mitchell became a great heroine of yours? No, we were really actually very limited in Western music. My dad was really active, so we had more than other people. He's really big into trading tapes, and there was a whole underground scene, and we had the Beatles, we had Moody Blues, we had Queen, and then a whole bunch of random, as I found out later, very random, like French pop or Italian pop or basically anything that kind of could get into our hands. And you had a classical background yourself?
Yeah. I studied classical piano until I was 17.
Yeah. And you've been back to Russia for the first time relatively recently. How was that?
Yeah, this summer I went back for the first time in 23 years, and it was absolutely amazing. You know, it was really emotional. It was exciting. It was scary. It was everything.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And I got to play shows, which was it was a really incredible way to return, because when we were leaving, we were aware that you know, music lessons were private in America, and I would never probably have a chance to study. And there was a year where I missed kind of having a piano and studying, but then we met my piano teacher in New York, and she taught me for free until I was 17.
Fantastic.
So.
Of course, Moscow is still pretty scary. You had probably better go and prepare to play us out, Regina. But at the time that Regina was over there, of course, the Pussy Riot trial was going on. And two of these girls have now been sent to... Chris, you were talking about the old days of the Gulag, but they've essentially been sent to Gulag-style camps, which sound utterly horrendous.
Well, I mean, what's happened, there are some serious question marks around what's taken place there. But what I would say is, and I travelled extensively in Eastern Europe, in Russia and Eastern Europe, 30 years ago, 25, 30 years ago, and it is certainly the case that it is very different now. I was in Berlin on Wednesday of last week. The transformation today of what was East Berlin and what it is today, of Russia today compared to what it was.
I spent a lot of my youth in East Berlin, studying there, and also then later in Moscow as a correspondent, actually, in the time we were just talking about there. You say, I don't think that Moscow is so different. I'm sorry to say. I think that the glitz and the wealth covers up for the fact, and you allude to it with the Pussy Riot, the treatment of those girls, is that ultimately what I really regret is having left in the mid-90s is that I thought we were maybe going to go somewhere away from the autocratic state power.
And instead we're slipping back.
I fear that we're slipping back under Putin, and I think in a way there's no longer any point in sort of hiding that or hiding away from it.
Final thought, Chris? That's true, isn't it?
It's certainly the case that there are human rights issues still to be addressed. Absolutely accept that. What I would say, though, is in today's world of mass communications, it's much more difficult for people to hide, and the Pussy Riot thing has been played out in the public glare worldwide.
And caused Putin rightly a great deal of embarrassment. I'm not sure I'm allowed to say rightly, but I say rightly. For now, thank you both very much indeed. That is pretty much it for this week. I'm back next Sunday when my guests are going to include the Shadow Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper. But for now, I'm going to leave you with the voice and the piano of Regina Spektor and her song, The Party. From all of us here, goodbye.
You're like a party somebody threw me. You taste like a birthday. You look like New Year. You're like a big parade through town. You leave such a mess, but you're so fun. Tell all the neighbors to start knocking down walls, to grab their guitars and run out to the halls. And we'll be coming out right along to sing 'em our new song. For every place there is a bus that'll take you where you must. Start counting all your money and friends before you come back again. For every road we can't retrace, for every memory we can't face, for every name that's been erased, let's have another round. May I propose a little toast for all the ones who hurt the most, for all the friends that we have lost. Let's give him one more round of applause. But you're like a party somebody threw me. You taste like birthday, you look like New Year. You're like a big parade through town. You leave such a mess, but you're so fun.